In a world where dreams collide, Sarah's voice a gentle guide. Through the realms of time and space, she takes us to a sacred place.
Thank you so much. I have a bunch of questions, but I think what I really want to know is some people are spotting like a comet or an asteroid, and there's speculation that it will get close or hit the Earth sooner rather than later. And some people speculate it's like a alien ship, and some people speculate that it's going to be used for the fake alien invasion. What do you see? Do you see anything like that coming towards Earth right now?
We do. So there's actually two that are coming towards Earth, and both of them are from planets that are not in your system. One is a piece of a planet that is starting to crumble, and there is a lot of turmoil on this planet, and the occupants of it that are in power are scrambling to try to find ways to save their planet. And one of the ways that they are doing this is they're feeding off fear. And they know that fear is very prevalent in Earth's atmosphere. So what they've done is they've used their collective mind power to take a piece of their crumbling planet and send it towards Earth in an attempt to create fear and therefore allow them to feed off that energy that is directly correlated to what they've sent your way. Now, there are, as you are well aware of, other alien or extraterrestrial life forms that are always around your planet that are of the highest good and highest intent that are trying to protect your planet. They are aware, they saw this coming from, miles away. They could feel this energy, just like you talked about being able to feel energy before it walks in the door. They felt this energy coming, so they're using their collective positive energy to counteract this asteroid, but it is coming your way. Now there is a second one that's coming from a planet that did not have occupants on it, but has actually its life cycle was up, and pieces of that have started to break apart, and that is also coming your way. It is harmless. There was no malicious intent associated with it. That one is going to bypass the Earth, although the trajectory of it is coming close. It will bypass. However, this one from this other planet, where they're actually manifesting its trajectory, it would hit Earth's planet if it wasn't for the protection that you have around you.
Oh, wow. So what can we expect then as it gets closer? Will people's fear be heightened, or what do people need to know or understand, or what would help people to know or understand about it?
So the fear will be heightened, which is what they are wanting. Obviously, they want to have people feed into that. Now, even you just doing the work that you are today and allowing this information to come out, you can tell the collective about this situation and essentially just to remain calm, and that our destiny can be transformed by the way that we interact with our energies, with our thought processes, and we can support the work that the councils around the earth are doing to push this mass essentially away from Earth by supporting it with a calm mind, in our mind's eye, visualizing it bypassing Earth, sending out love to counteract the negative energy that is being sent through this fear desire of this other planet. And so it really is this, oldest time scenario where it's dark versus light, good versus evil, fear versus peace. And it's an opportunity again for people to step away from that fear virus that is so prevalent within your earth space and allow themselves to step into a space of calm, of knowing, of just essentially peace and love. And it really is going to end up being something that shifts your consciousness in a way that the individuals that sent this to you weren't expecting. It's actually going to help with your ascension, because people that are still sort of that are very mired in this fear state are going to be able to look at the individuals who are staying calm, and it will elicit something inside them to say, why am I like functioning like this when this person right next to me is able to stand in a space so differently? And that alone is enough sometimes to start having shifts occur within those individuals to help them with the ascension that they need to start leaning into.
Well, when does it look like this is occurring? And is there like a potential that it would hit? And I'm just curious because there's been so many predictions, like even Nostradamus said there would be earth changes. Is that part of it? Is this something that has been predicted, or is this totally different than anything that has been predicted? I'm just wondering if you could tell me more about it.
You bet. So this coming is not going to alter the shifts within your planet the way that Nostradamus predicted. That has a lot more to do with the changes that are happening due to climate change, and we can loop back and talk more about that. But this specific event that's coming, could it hit Earth? Absolutely. Now, there may even be different timelines where a part of it will hit a little bit of Earth, and that will, again, assist with ascension, and having, something that's visible and tangible for people to really see can be helpful in that ascension process. And that essentially, even though this came, at Earth's, or came within Earth's orbit with came into Earth. Um, Look at how they were still able to counteract it and work for the greater good despite the damage that was done. So I'm seeing a timeline where that will happen. It's a parallel timeline, but the one that you are in right now, we're seeing that the strongest certainty is that you as a collective, with the help of the councils that are protecting Earth, are going to have it. It's going to be like what we would call a near miss. So people are going to be able to see it. They're going to be able again to feel this energy coming, but it's almost just going to curve around the Earth and just miss it. And again, that has to do with the energy that you're putting out to counteract it. Now, if we go back to Nostradamus and the Earth changes, there are shifts that are happening there that really has a lot more to do with the work that's being done on Earth, the battles that are already occurring within Earth, and the powers here that you and Crystal have touched on in the past about, the really wealthy individuals who are working with some extraterrestrials that are not of the highest good to create shifts within the Earth's crust, even because they're looking or mining for or trying to get power over the collective. And then just the natural things that are happening due to the depletion of resources, the sort of the pillaging of Mother Earth, and the water scarcity and the climate changes. Those are what Nostradamus was seeing more of, those shifts associated with those types of things.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. So this is like a negative alien invasion, so to speak, like so, in a sense. Like
That's
so
right.
so okay, so what type of alien, and could you tell me more about this group? So they fractioned off a piece of their planet or just kind of broke away. Could you tell me more about these particular groups and how just more about it, please?
Yes, so there's some similarities to Atlantis, although um, they didn't become quite as powerful as Atlantis did. The progression of Atlantis and them are different, but the they are incredibly smart. The reason there's a similarity to Atlantis is that they didn't again start with a negative intent, that there was love and there was goodness on their planet, but it actually started to sort of dwindle fairly quickly, and they really started living in this space of negativity, and they became powerful, but they became powerful using almost what we would call like dark arts. You might be familiar with
Yeah,
that
but
term.
sorry to interrupt you, but why? Why did they start turning negative if they were so beautiful? Sorry to interrupt you.
Not at all. So they were they were beautiful, but they were given a very similar option as you are on Earth, which is of free will. And unfortunately, they started to choose they started to make decisions that they felt were easier to make or would get quicker results that were leaning into the negative. And so instead of, for example, I'm going to grow my own potatoes, for example, and it's going to take a little while, but I'm going to tend to them with loving care. There was a group of individuals that's, just not different from Earth, but that thought, well, I would rather steal potatoes from somebody else way quicker, and that sort of mindset spread very quickly. Like that I could have this quicker. I don't want to put in effort to wait. And it was all about tapping into sort of that greed sense. There was this sort of slothfulness and effort that they didn't want to put in, and it spread so quickly. And they really started stepping into this space where this darkness almost enveloped their planet. So when the planet was initially formed, I'm seeing actually a lot of pastel colors there. It was almost like unicorn colors, really sort of just beautiful, hazy unicorn colors. And now the planet itself is so dark. There's like a lot of dark, dark purples and blacks, and the whole color of the planet has completely shifted to match the energy that's there. And they almost, again, like Atlantis, combust themselves because there wasn't a balance on their planet anymore. There was not light and darkness. It is just so much heaviness there that the planet essentially started to crumble and break. Pieces of it started to break off. And they saw this happening, and they thought that they could, if we heart they because they recognize that there is power in the darkness. And so if they tapped into this fear, they're almost trying to like take these pieces that are breaking away and glue them back together with this energy. And they're scrambling, their numbers are dwindling, their population is not very big anymore. Don't have the numbers to support this dark consciousness that they need. And so they saw the crumbling happening. They got together, and as this piece was about to break off, they knew it was going to, and they steered it directly to Earth and said, let's send it there. Let's have that fear, that we know exists on Earth be amplified, and we're going to have, basically with a thread, have that energy connect directly back to us and hopefully make us more powerful so that we can keep the rest of our planet from crumbling.
Well, do you sense that it will work for them? Because like there is so much fear on Earth.
There is so much fear, but no, it's not going to work. It's almost going to be like a generator starting up, and they're going to start to feel like they're getting what they need, but this is not going to end up working out for them at all. In the end, their planet is going to completely collapse, and I'm hearing very confidently that it should, that it is expired. That's why it's crumbling. They it's time for it to go, and essentially that what they were given they weren't good stewards of in any way. Some planets are meant to get rid of the occupants on it and can regenerate with those individuals gone. This planet, however, has gone through its timeline. It was created for a specific purpose. It was not lived out, and now this planet will be no more. So no, in the end they will not be successful.
What's the name of that planet, or what are the names of what's the name of that type of being? Do they have a name?
So I keep trying to second guess myself, but I'm not. What's coming through is Maxurius, Max,
Okay.
Maxzur, Maxurius. Maxurius is the planet, and the individuals themselves. They said it's like people call you guys Earthlings. They call them Maxurians.
Oh, okay. And what do they look like?
They're slender. They're on the shorter side. They almost have like like not slimy, but like a sheen to their color, like a slickness to their skin. They're very dark. Again, it's almost like the colors of their planet. They almost are blending into that now. They're like a black sort of slickness with a bit of purple and navy tinges to them. They have eyes that are what we would almost sort of correlate to be of like Asian descent in our um, earthly plane. But they're very dark and they're very cold. There's nothing good behind these eyes. I can see almost into their soul, and they're incredibly negative and dark. But they're showing me again when they first started inhabiting the planet, they were never the pastel colors that their planet was, but they were lighter in color. So they were more of like a vibrant purple. And then as this shift occurred, over time, the outer skin started to match what was happening in their soul.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. And when does it look like this will start to appear or that people, I mean, people are already aware of it, but when does it look like the public will start to know about it?
I'm hearing the timeline within the next 6 months.
Okay. Thank you so much. Wow. Is there anything else about this that looks important to share?
They're just saying that again, they're making a recognition that the change of their skin tone to correlate with their sort of collapse of their soul, that happens on Earth too, and they're just showing that people can only hide who they are for so long. Now, on the earthly plane, it doesn't change the tone of your skin, but what it does is change your auric field. And as we become more intuitive as a society and more connected to energy fields and believe in our intuition, they're showing me that you can sense and feel that shift. So although it doesn't show up in skin tone, it shows up in energy. And just to be mindful of that, they're showing that more and more people that are of negative intentions are going to be able to hide less and less as you continue to tap into the energy of the universe, of the higher good. And just become more aware of it. And that is happening as you continue to ascend. And so what they're saying is really interesting, that they wanted to touch on in regards to this Lionsgate portal that's happening, is that this isn't new, that this happens every year. August 8th always comes around. But what's happening this year is that more people are open to hearing about it. There's more talk about it on social media. There's more talk about it on even TV shows. The collective is more open to this energy and are more open into finding out ways to tap into it. And so that's a really interesting and good turn of events, just to show again that this shift is happening.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that. So you said there was another one coming. When does the other comet or whatever look like it's coming? But that would be a near miss. The one is that the
Right, the
one
near
that comes?
miss is coming after this one. And they're showing me that it's going to just be a whole different scenario. There's going to be a lot more calmness in it. There's going to be a lot more peace with it. It's a totally different feeling than this one that is coming, more with this malicious intent. And I'm hearing within a year's time. So it looks like this one's going to happen within a 6 month period. And then I can't quite decipher if the next one is another 6 months after, or no, they're saying it's a year after this 6 month one away happens. It'll be a year or so after that. And it'll just be completely different. There will be a lot more calmness on the planet as that one approaches. Just a totally different feel because people will have seen what they were able to accomplish with this one. This one is going to miss regardless, but not everyone is so sure of that. But there's a lot more sense of peace and confidence, in even the ability to counteract those things when that one starts to approach.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So for all of us, what we need to do is basically to not allow fear to, well, What do you suggest, actually? What do you suggest we do? Wow.
You were right on it, Sarah. You were headed right down the path, exactly, is not to allow fear to rule the day. And it's so hard. It taps into everything in your society. And if someone's already feeling fear related to personal circumstance, so, you, Crystal, who's under right now, there's been a lot of fear in her personal life just about what life looks like based on the events that are unfolding in her personal life. And so if you're already in a state of fear, it's easier to tap into that and continue that sort of pathway. But it's just encouraging people to step back, take a minute, ground themselves, and find that power within to remain calm and recognize again that you have the power to change the trajectory of things, that you are supported. You're not in this alone. You have not only your spirit team, but the collective around you in the universe that wants to help your planet, and just be rooted in the fact that you have that power and that you can counteract again, that your goodness can counteract the darkness, and just tuning into that sense of calm. Even, people listening to your voice, Sarah, we hear that so much about how your voice just makes people feel calm. So, in their mind's eye, thinking of a situation or a voice like yours to be centered and find that sense of peace, and it will help them just dial down the sort of chaos that starts to build within your body when you tap into that fear, calming your center, and then just again remembering that you have that power to counteract and stepping forth in a sense of more peace and calm.
Well, what about the parallel timeline where it does hit a piece of the Earth? Can you
Yes.
tell me about that?
Yes, so it is going to hit in this parallel timeline. It is going to cause some shifts, almost like a earthquake would happen. It's going to hit. The impact is still being determined as far as how hard that's going to be. It will hit. There will be some fatalities, but it won't be as devastating as people thought it would be. And again, it's because sort of in the last minute that people actually I'm seeing are holding hands. They're meditating together. They're using their mind's eye to push back against this. And they actually do decrease the force of the impact. And they, again, people that are unsure if that's actually possible, that could be done, are standing around watching these individuals who are almost in a meditative state, and they're feeling that energy. They're changing something within their energy fields and subconsciously are tapping in to help support what they're doing. So again, it is really important that this hit does occur because it visually gives a shift to say, okay, this did come, but look what we were able to do. They can almost see it slowing. It looks like, okay, it's coming, it's coming, coming, but they can almost see it slowing a little bit as the energy of people counteracting it amplifies. And so again, people sometimes need that visual, and that will be something that plays over on social media. People will take clips of it. It'll be posted, posted, posted. I'm being shown already that government agencies are going to try to take it down. They don't want, again, people to realize how powerful they are, but that is part of the ascension as well. So in that parallel universe, it will hit, but the impact and force is still being determined, but it looks like it will be not very devastating, again, because of what the collective is able to accomplish.
Okay, so I just have a question. So, like, will this parallel version actually play out? Like, what I want to know is, will some people not experience that hit and some people do on this trajectory? Is this part of this split, this bifurcation of worlds, or is it not? Like, is this just a potential that the whole world will feel, or is this actually going to be different according to your vibration?
So they're showing me that you will feel it. All of you will feel it based on the fact higher selves are living in these multiple realities. So you won't experience it in this timeline that you're in, but in your parallel timeline, your higher self your a sliver of your higher self will experience it. So it's not a bifurcation, it's just another reality to allow again for spiritual growth. So you won't experience it here, but you will experience it there.
Okay, so what about the bifurcation of worlds? Is that still really happening? Like, is it, I mean, are people really split? Like, people are so worried that they're not on the right timeline. What do you want to say
Mhm.
about that? Is it not really like that? Like, really, it's they're both happening, so you aren't really on one timeline, you're on all.
That's right. Exactly. That you're going to, there's going to be pieces of you that will be shifting more quickly. There will be pieces of your higher self, slivers of the higher self that are not moving as quickly. And it's all again to allow your soul to have the most experience possible while you're incarnated. And it doesn't mean that you're not ascending or that you need to worry, but there's so much benefit to laying a little bit behind and also moving quickly. So if you're lagging a little bit behind, you're seeing individuals who are struggling, you may be assisting them with their ascension process. If you are moving quickly, you're setting the groundwork to receive and welcome people to that space. So there's benefit to being able to take part in all of these parallel experiences. So it's just important to know that you're never behind, that you just continue to, I guess what they're saying is we encourage you to continue to tap in to love and light and expansion without a criticism of the pace in which it's happening, and be confident that you're moving in a timeline and in a space as you should, according to what's best for your soul's growth.
Okay, wow. Um, what is the number one thing people could do for their soul's growth?
Oh boy. So the reason that came out is because this again is hitting home for your client. It's to stop pushing so much. People in the best of sense get excited and they're like, okay, I hear about this great place. I want to get there now. And for your subject, she's sort of in this in-between state and she's having a lot of trouble with that. She doesn't like not having, in essence, a bit more control. Like, where exactly is my life going? Like, just want to get to that next stage. And they're being very clear that there's so much to learn and so much beauty being in this in-between state where you're learning, you're loosening the reins of your past. You're letting go of things that no longer serve you, that have been somewhat of a source of comfort. And you just have to essentially let go and stay grounded in a bit of the unknown. And that is a very uncomfortable place for a lot of people. But again, they're speaking not to rush this timeline, that this is a blessing in a sense for you to sit in this space and feel the release of the past. It's an opportunity to take with you what you know will serve you, but to let go of what no longer does. People are going to start seeing dramatic shifts in what they feel like they should actually pursue in their lives. They're going to start again letting go of more materialistic things and tapping into more nature focused projects. Are going to be tapping in more to energy projects. But this isn't to be rushed. This is such a gift to be able to be on Earth right now and be part of this transition. And we need to stop pushing for it to go at the pace we want it to, and just be in the space and allow it to unfold as it should.
Thank you for that. Um, I just have okay, I have so many questions, but I'm curious. We talked a little earlier about the Titanic. Could you tell me how the Titanic actually was destroyed?
So this one, there are again a few parallel things that happened in different dimensions. And again, it was, as you're well aware of, for the learning of the souls involved. But the one that we're seeing that we would like to speak to you about, really again, hovers in that space of greed and fear. And it has a link back to the Maxurians that we just spoke of, about how some individuals wanted things to move along quicker based on what they felt would be best for the world. And what they did was they took out the blocks, the people that were wanting a slow growth in the financial industry within the world, who wanted to make sure that as the financial industry moved forward, that a path for the safety of all would be set, and that the benefit of all would be considered, where there was another group who were really focused on their needs, their greed, their purposes, the increase of their financial wealth. And as we mentioned in your reading in Malvern, this group of individuals did get together and worked behind the scenes to ensure that they could get rid of the individuals who they felt were putting a block in their way. They're showing me it was like a standoff. It was almost like they were in a boxing ring, and it was like a duel to the end. It was like three against three, and
Mm.
they were never going to be able to come to an agreement. The greedy people were never going to agree with the people that had the higher, better intentions, and vice versa. And in the end, they've recognized that, or they felt that this was just going to continue to be a block for them and would slow the progression of what they wanted to see happen. And so they did work behind the scenes to have the Titanic sink so that they could get rid of those individuals. And unbeknownst to them, this it was such a surprise, obviously, to the population, because it was deemed as this unsinkable ship. There have been many other accidents within the seas that have had more catastrophic fatalities, but this one sticks in people's minds so heavily because of the classifications. And it's very interesting because there were the rich, there were the middle class, there were the poor class, and this is something that has almost hovered in the collective since it's happened, just about look what happens to people who are in the lower classes. They were the ones that weren't able to escape as easily, or had you didn't have that ability to. And so this fear of being at the bottom and trying to tap into wealth through material means was something that was perpetuated through this accident, that these financial tycoons didn't anticipate happening, but are so happy that it did, because it really perpetuated what they wanted to see happen. So people are desperate now for financial gains, to, wear brand names, to drive these expensive cars, and they're so desperate to show that they are not like lower class, that they're willing to go into debt. They're willing to do things that don't their soul to try to tap into money. There's such a fear, if I don't have these things, I'll be looked down on, or, if some event like this happens, that I won't be at a level where I will be, have the option to save myself. And they are putting themselves into positions that um, are precarious, but at the same time feed the coffers of these tycoons and the companies that they were able to start after the sinking of the ship.
Oh, wow. Do you get a sense how it actually sunk?
It was weakened before the voyage even occurred. So the iceberg was there, but there was a weakening of the side of the ship. They're showing me like paper mache, or like asbestos, like that kind of material. Like it had been like the particles had been almost like sliced open on the interior. You would never have seen it on the exterior. It looked smooth on the exterior, but in between the two, um, so there was the exterior steel and the interior portion, but in the middle of that, there was like a component that had been weakened prior to the voyage being taken off, And it didn't take much for a small hit to cause that to splinter open. Now, the idea that it was this iceberg that went across the ship and just scraped into it so deeply, that actually isn't the case. All it took was almost like a tiny nick, and it just splintered open. And again, it had been weakened and put in a weakened state before the voyage even occurred.
Oh, wow, that's so fascinating. Oh, wow. Um, okay, why do, like back in the day, people were murdered all the time just for speaking out? Why is it that a lot of people can speak out now and not be murdered? Like, what is happening? Something good must be happening. I mean, people are obviously still murdered for like, inventing certain things. They are. That's happening. But more and more people seem to be able to have more speech going on, especially with the internet, and they haven't been murdered.
It's there is a reason for this, and it is in large part to have people be more discerning and become more critical thinkers. So as people speak out, what's happening? Because this, you're right, this is somewhat of a new thing. There are individuals who get quite easily swept up in the strongest voices, and the quieter voices are the ones that aren't gaining as much traction, who may actually be closer to speaking the truth, aren't getting the attention necessarily. And so what's happening on your planet is it's going to really be an opportunity again for people to dial in and listen to their intuition. And it's very purposeful. So are you going to get swayed up in the loudest voices, the one that speaks, the people that speak the loudest, those that have the biggest numbers? Or again, are you going to take a step back and try to look at all of the facts and find the truth? And this again has to do with the ascension and not just being told and blindly leading. And so just because people are finding their voices doesn't mean that what they're speaking is the truth. And so it's again, it's about that discernment and looking within, looking at their energies, dialing into the energies of where they're coming from, as we spoke about earlier in this reading. It's all about dialing into those type of experiences and allowing yourself to become more attuned to listening to your own intuition.
Well, I guess I'm wondering, is it safe for people to start speaking their truth? Like, is this time really safe? Like, because people are often worried about that because in the past, if you just spoke out about anything, there was like a group that would take you out.
So what they're showing me right now, Sarah, it's they're actually doing this hand movement. I'll show you after, but it's like ugh, like that, like ugh, like it's actually like so, it's like so annoying because people are speaking out and it's almost become too safe, and they're just saying like the voice of people, they're just like breathing hot air, and it's almost too safe for people to speak out because some of the ridiculousness that's spreading is just so far off base. But it's what's happening is that actually it's fine for almost everyone to speak out because there's so much confusion now on what to
Mm.
believe. And so all the hot air and all the people that are just speaking nonsense are actually clouding over those that are coming forth with what previously would maybe have been viewed as nonsense. Like when we talk about aliens, when we talk about conspiracy theories in the past, that would have really stood out. But it's not standing out as much now because there's just so much out there and everybody's speaking. They're just showing me like it's almost like verbal chaos at the moment. Like there's so many voices. And so they're like, yes, speak out, because but the piece is that you have to be discerning about what you listen to and how you cipher that information. They're showing me like a flour sifter, and what are you going to keep, and what do you know can just fall through that sifter that's not of value.
Wow. Okay, that's really good to know. Well, then how come my book was taken down? Like I like compared to other people that have really loud voices that have, best-selling
Mm.
books, why is this just like this little Atlantis book like taken off the market? I mean, I am redoing it. I'm almost done, but still.
So they have me smiling and they're like, good question. So the reason for this is because you're attracting more people that have already started tapping in to this discernment, and they are aware very clearly that the information that you're sharing is of the highest intent, that is of goodness, it is being shared, it is being spread, and it has so much power to it because it is of truth. And so they do want to take your book down because it is so powerful for that reason. Whereas other individuals that may be flocking towards, people on a pulpit that are spewing, negativity, and they might be getting numbers in their masses that are following them, they're showing me there's not a lot of oomph behind the words because they're not true. They're not really powerful. And now, as collective numbers increase, there can be power that's added to that. But your numbers and the people that you are attracting are very much people of high intent who are also incredibly powerful. And that energy is tenfold more powerful than what's being attracted to sort of this hot air speak from other people. So they are worried about what you're putting out there, and that's why you have been targeted.
Oh, okay. All right. What can I do about that? Like, as far as being targeted, like I'm sharing stuff, but I do get the sense they try to hinder like my YouTube. They try to like cut it back from my platforms.
They do, and they are, and they will continue to. But they're showing me they're just again, and they've done this in the past. I love seeing it. They're standing around and they're actually like kind of joking now. They're like clapping and now they're like, and now we're slow clapping. They're just like, you go, Sarah. They're just like, don't let them stop
Mhm.
you. And just
Yeah.
know, as far as your safety, that you are being surrounded so heavily by spirit on the other side to protect your well-being, that you don't need to be in fear for the work you're doing, that you're continuing to put out there, that you do have protection in that realm, and that you are doing, better and better also about calling on that protection to protect yourself, which they are also applauding you for. But just know that you have them behind you. It doesn't mean that you won't have these individuals try to counteract what you're doing, but that you are supported safety wise in continuing to move through public spaces and share this work.
Thank you. Okay, I have a question because this is something that comes up a lot. A lot of my clients or just people in general are dealing with some sort of health issue. And they feel as if their body is betraying them because,
Mhm.
like, I had one client, she's going through like her healing right now, but she really thought she was going to heal herself with like certain things. And then she just ended up, because she has kids, she ended up getting the mainstream medical route, but she feels like her body didn't agree.
So this is another great question, and we're showing the subject right now, what it's like. So when you do these sessions with Crystal, she almost comes out of her body a bit and comes into a lighter realm in order to work with us. But what we've had her do is just go back into that feeling of being in the heaviness of the body, and she can feel again just what she wants to share is the heaviness of the human experience. And yes, so many people are getting sicker than ever because the there are individuals out there that want you to be sick, and we have talked about this in the past. So at conferences, Crystal noticed that you had brought a Berkey water filter. She has a Berkey water filter as well. The actual filters from the Berkey company are really hard to get your hands on now. There has been agencies who wanted to take that company down because they were getting so much attention to purify and clean the water. But what they're showing me is that's what's happening. Like at every angle, you're being bombarded with things to try and negatively impact your health, whether it's the air you breathe, the food you eat, the water you drink. It's coming at you from every single angle, and it's becoming harder and harder to overcome it. I'm sure that you are aware, even within the organic food space, there's individuals now that recognize how prevalent that space has become, and that people are trying to grow their own food or go to organic food markets, and they're now trying to find ways to infiltrate that market as well. They really want to make you all sick. And so all we can say is that it's not your body turning against you. It's all of the things that your body is trying so hard to overcome. But it's like a machine that's continually being given the wrong oil. It just gets congested and weighs down. And it's not that it's turning against you, it's just battling on a front that it's never had to battle to this level before. And it is working for you and with you, but it has a lot more to work through than ever. So, again, the best way to counteract what you are being put up against is to thank your body. Thank your body every day. Acknowledge your body. Thank it for the hard work that it's doing. The body says oftentimes we are completely taken for granted. No one thinks about us until they start to get sick. But before they got sick, we were doing so much work already to prevent that from happening. We fought off so many things before that sickness even was able to be prevalent. And so thanking the body, it really gives that body that extra boost of energy almost to keep going. The bodies on earth are starting to get tired. They're feeling like run down because they are working so hard, and they're just showing that a little bit of acknowledgement for the work that they're doing almost like gives them this little pep and boost, like, okay, wait, they see me, okay, keep going, keep going. So tapping into your body, giving it thanks, and again, looking at your food and water, and we've talked about this before, setting an intention through your energy source in your mind's eye to try to purify it to the best of your abilities. It goes back to the day of prayer where you said thanks for your food. Now you're thanking your food, but also asking that it be changed in essence to only be of the highest intent and benefit for your body, and that those are important things to take moving forward.
Wow, thank you so much. What can you do if you are sick like that? Like this client of mine, like she just didn't know what to do.
Absolutely. And it's so difficult because once you become sick, it puts you in a different state. It puts you in a state where you're already now looking for answers in a space where you're tired, you're sad perhaps, you're in a state of dis-ease where previously you would have been feeling more able and energetic to tap into ways that could help you. Now you're almost starting from a point that is what it is. It's just harder to tap in. So what they're showing me is to loop back to the conversation we had earlier about giving time and space and not pressing so quickly for answers, and that can be incredibly hard because you want to be healed immediately. You want answers on your conditions, but that you need to sit with yourself and tap into which pathway you should take. And sometimes when you're sick, you're being pushed into Western medicine, and maybe you have a friend over here who say, "Well, try this in Eastern medicine," and you're just so confused and you're willing to try anything, or you're so exhausted that you don't try anything at all. And just taking that moment of space and peace to just calm yourself and just sit with it all for a minute and allow the path forward to come to you. And that may be a blend of both of those things, but just allowing that to happen and then taking action. They're wanting to say, they're very clear here. We're not asking you to sit in a space of inaction when it comes to illness, because, you know, some of these illnesses can move quickly, but we want you to take a minute before you do decide on treatment to just tap in and listen. And that even just taking 2 hours of quiet time can often nudge you in the right direction.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for that. One more question when it comes to these quote unquote asteroids that are not really asteroids. Um, is this the same thing that people are talking about when it comes to Comet 31 Atlas? Is that the same that they're noticing, or is that different?
Different. The Comet 31 Atlas is actually something that is being created within the um, earthly space. It has something to do with they're almost showing me like the lineage or like groups that did like Area 51 with like alien craft back in the day. It's that subset of government. They're also wanting me to say that they're there's some people that don't even work for the government, but that have that knowledge now. That comet that you're speaking of, it is actually being crafted with earthly energies to come at Earth, to be shown within Earth. And again, this is linked to this whole group of people throughout the Earth, which we've touched on the past, like in the area of Utah, in the area of Antarctica. There's these groups everywhere who are taking what they've learned, and are trying to do nefarious things to create fear, to we to shift, I guess, the energy of the earth for their benefit. They're the ones that are working on that. And that energy, that comet is related to their work.
And what will we notice? Like, what are they trying to do? Because some people suspect that they want to hit the moon.
There is a component of that they're saying. There is a absolute component of that, and it almost goes back to what we were talking about with the other asteroids that are coming, and the visual in the one parallel will where you need to see that impact. What they want to do is actually the opposite. They do want to cause chaos when it comes to the moon, and they want you to see that, and they want to instill fear that, like, look at this, even the moon isn't safe right now, and everyone looks up in the sky and looks at the moon at one point or another, and so it's such a tangible visual for them to work with and have humans see. So they are coming at it. But there's like, so they're actually showing me, they're like giggling and they're rubbing their hands together, like, haha, like, nice try, because there's actually people that live on the moon, spirits that live on the moon, and they're ready. And again, it's this, they're showing me now the Titanic people. It's like, the three and the three, it's a battle here. So they know they're coming. The moon is protecting itself. It has a shield around it. There's energies protecting it, but they are, you're right, Sarah, they are coming for the moon, but the moon will be able to repel it essentially and will not be damaged.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's really good to know because some people think the moon will fall, so it
No,
won't. Okay,
it
wow.
will not, but they are sure trying.
Okay, so why? Why do they want to, I mean, so these are actually people, right? Or they're working with, I guess, like a negative energy, but
Right.
why do they want to instill fear in in people really? Like why?
So there's a collapse into darkness essentially. So they're showing the moon even at night provides a, sense of light. The moon, again, when we talk even about the portal of the Lionsgate portal right now and how more people are tapping into that, even though it's been around forever. The moon's been around forever too. But we got off track as humans as far as tapping into the power of the moon, and that is regenerating, it's being rediscovered. People are coming back into that and connecting with the energy of the moon like never before. And so it's a way for them to try and stop that, to stop the collective from connecting with that energy, for also, being a flex again as far as power, or for people who, finally are maybe shifting into the realm of energy where they haven't stepped into the space before, and then have it stripped away from them immediately as they, maybe started to connect with the moon, and almost it shuts them down and be like, what's the point? Look at this is what happens. Like, that feeling of powerlessness. They are also able to, again, inflict some fear, because look at what can happen and things are out of my control. So that's where they're coming from. There's a lot of pieces to the work that they're doing and how it would impact you all. But really, again, it is because there is this connection to the moon. Even people that aren't connected energetically are connected regardless. They just don't realize it. But if they could take out the moon, it would be just such a shattering to the earth, because it's been around since the dawn of time. And it would be, like we said, just such a flex, but it is not going to happen.
Okay, so will the general public become aware of this, and what does it look like in the most probable timeline? Like when would people know about this comet that's being created, and um, what what would benefit us to know, basically?
So they said this is still a few years out, so I'm being shown at least a couple years. And what might end up happening is also they're showing me again like Area 51, how lots of the records there were classified for the longest time. Now they are becoming unclassified, that the extent to which this group close to being able to do what they were almost able to do, that information will be repressed for some time. That won't be something that you're aware of right away, but you will, again, as a collective, just have this sense of something that, was going on. And you're not going to have to wait 50, 60, 70 years for that information to come out because you want it. You already sort of believe that you're questioning it. Whereas when Area 51 existed, people were willing to just believe whatever the government told them, whatever the media told them. That isn't the case anymore. So the information will be repressed, but not for nearly as long. And it will come out, and all of you will sort of say, "Yeah, I knew it." And they kind of like, "Well, yeah, we knew you knew it. So that's why we let it we let it out earlier than we had anticipated." But what you will see is this light. You will see this crazy brightness in the sky that is shooting towards the moon. It is not going to be, like we said, catastrophic. It's not going to be able to hit the moon. There's going to be a barrier around the moon, but you will be able to see it. So, again, even that in itself is going to have something awakening up spirit. Those of you like you, Sarah, those of you like Crystal, who's under, now you have an idea of what it is, and you're not the only ones. So you'll know what's happening when you see that light, but a lot of other people won't. And that's okay. They're going to start questioning though and looking for answers and wanting to know what that was. But the information is just going to take a little bit more time to come out.
Oh, wow. And could you tell me more about this group? If you could look like where is this comet being orchestrated, and where is it being like created? And are
They're
there
showing
people that are aware?
me. Yes, they're showing me it's actually really close to Area 51. That area has been like kind of like deemed as sort of like shut down and there's not much going on there, but like it's right in that area where this work is being done.
Oh, wow. And so people that are talking about it right now, like, are there people that actually know that it's being formulated and created?
Yes, but it's coming from downloads. So it's just like where you will get information and you think like, where did this come from? Like this like idea pops into your head. There's downloads that are being given to people with this information so that these conversations start. So again, when they try to hide the information from you, you're like, wait a second. No, and there's so many of you that have gotten the downloads that it pushes the people trying to hide the information to share it more readily because the group of you basically already in your mind's eye knew this was coming and have such a sense of what's happening that they aren't going to repress it in ways that they have in the past.
Sounds like a lot of agendas all of a sudden. Or is this just like normal day? Like, is this happening all the time? And there's so many
So much. Yes, they're saying so much. Oh, they're like Earth. There's so much going on all the time and always has been, again, from the dawn of time. But what's happening that's different is that you're questioning it in a way that you never have before, or you're open to receiving information that you wouldn't have been in the past. And that is the difference, that all these things were happening before, but the general public was less aware or interested in waking up to it. But now you are coming into this time where you want the knowledge, you inherently know the knowledge, and that is the biggest shift. And so you're hearing about it more, you're seeing it more, you're feeling it more, and that is the biggest change. And again, that's all for the benefit of your ascension. So it's a really, really good thing.
Okay, wow. Well, like, how do people know the name of this comet already, the Area 31 Atlas or whatever? How do they even know about it? Comet 31, yeah, Atlas.
So they're telling me they're like, and the name isn't as important. And so someone gave it a name, and people that had been given downloads as far as the comet itself were like, okay, that's fine. Let's go with that name. So they're saying the naming of it wasn't as important as the downloads that they were giving that the comet itself existed. But the name was created, and people that had had the same visions were like, okay, let's go with that. And so that's essentially what happened.
Okay, so it's 31 Atlas, but people have already confirmed that it's an interstellar object passing through the solar system. And the 31 denotes that it's an interstellar object, I guess, coming from an asteroid.
So the one that I'm being shown is again being made within Earth. It is
Okay.
going to go into your planetary um, galactic system. It's going to be sent up there, but it's not coming outward in, it's coming inwards out, is what I'm being shown.
Okay. All right. So could this be two different things or um yeah, are these two different things or are they the same? Comet 31 Atlas.
As soon as you said Comet 31 Atlas, they showed me they would took me right to Area 51 and
Okay.
showed me that this is being worked on there. So that's all I can say.
Okay, thank you so much. Wow, okay. Thank you, thank you.